Well, good evening. It's good to see everyone here this evening, but we have a very, very short period of time to be able to make our presentations, so I hope you'll allow me to dive directly into that. There is no topic that has more often been debated in my encounters with Roman Catholic apologists than the subject of Sola Scriptura. The very first debate that I ever did with Catholic Answers in August of 1990 was on this subject with Jerry Matitix. There's no reason this evening to repeat everything that has been said before. I want to see if we can move the ball forward and do something a little bit different and press things just a little bit so that we can accomplish something this evening. In all my debates over decades with Roman Catholic representatives, no one has ever challenged or disputed the meaning God breathed. I remember in 1999, I had the opportunity of debating Father Mitchell Pacwa on Sola Scriptura in San Diego, and I asked Father Pacwa a question. I want to see if we can move the ball forward and do something a little bit different and press things just a little bit so that we can accomplish something this evening. So there's an inside joke going on there. So anyways,
the disciples could forgive sins, not evidence that Christians confessed their sins to a quote-unquote priest.
I direct people to the debate that was done a number of years ago between myself and Mitch Pacwa on the subject of the priesthood. I think it was very, very useful and helpful to people, and Mitch is a great guy. Interestingly, back in the 90s, Catholic Answers was big on pushing the material formal sufficiency argument. I know that because my first debate in August of 1990 was with Catholic Answers representative Jerry Matitix at St. Cyprian's Roman Catholic Church in Long Beach, California. When I debated Mitch Pacwa on this subject, actually I just realized this is my sixth debate on the subject. Well, let me back that up. You heard what I said about Mitch Pacwa?
Yeah.
Would you agree with Mitch Pacwa? I've debated Roman Catholic apologists who have said, you have as much warrant to believe in the bodily assumption of Mary as you have to believe in the resurrection of Jesus Christ. That's how certain it is. And he worked for Catholic Answers, by the way, at that time. I just invite you to go back and listen to any debate I ever did with Catholic Answers representatives if you want an example of overload from the other side, allegedly. To me, that the whole concept of papal infallibility is probably the most useless doctrine I've ever heard, because fundamentally, as I've debated Tim Staples, Robert Sungenis on these issues, the major argument, and we've done debates on this subject, go listen to the debates I've done with a number of people on this subject of the apocryphal books. Well, again, it'd be a great debate to have, but I would just like to point to the question I've been asking Roman Catholics for a long time, especially since I debated Jerry Matitix at Boston College in '93. And that is, this is not the first debate we've done on this subject. I did a debate a number of years ago. Now, I was fairly young at the time, had hair. And I think I talked too fast. It was one of the first debates that I did. But I did a debate with Father Mitchell Pacwa on the doctrine of justification. I especially thought that the cross-examination in that particular debate was very useful. I would highly recommend all of the debates that we've done with Mitch Pacwa on a number of different subjects as being very, very useful along these lines. But those aren't the only people that we've debated on the subject of justification. And I think if you listen to those debates, you will see a fundamental difference. Now, my problem here is that I have done numerous debates with Roman Catholics on this subject, and they never presented what Jimmy Akin just presented. You can go back and listen to Robert Sungenis and to even with Mitch Pacwa early on. That was one of the first debates we did in Southern California. Because you can go back and you can look at every debate I've done with Catholic Answers representatives or with people who aren't with Catholic Answers on these particular subjects. Again, one of the first debates I did, Mitchell Pacwa. And we were dealing with what is the nature of righteousness. We were dealing with exactly those things. Yeah, in only 30 seconds, I'd like to recommend to folks, because these things are available on YouTube, if you're interested in, for example, the issue of the Roman Catholic priesthood and whether there is a biblical basis for that, because that was what the sacramental forgiveness just referred to. I had the opportunity a number of years ago to debate Father Mitchell Pacwa, wonderful guy, on that particular subject, and I would recommend you listen to what both of us had to say on it.
All right.
The Pope that was on the throne of Rome when I started dealing with Roman Catholicism many, many years ago. The first debate I did in August of 1990 with Jerry Matitix on the subject of Sola Scriptura. You must believe that Mary was bodily assumed into heaven as a part of the gospel. When I can debate Roman Catholic apologists like Jerry Matitix, and he will literally stand in front of an audience and say, we have just as much warrant to believe in the bodily assumption of Mary as we have to believe in the resurrection of Jesus Christ. I say, one of my favorite questions, in fact, one of the things that has offended me the most, I'll be honest with you, and I don't want to sour the kind relationship we have here, but one of the things that has offended me the most over the years since my first debate with Jerry Matitix in 1990 is when Roman Catholics say, you couldn't know the Trinity if you didn't have the church. Many years ago, I debated Jerry Matitix at Boston College on the subject of the apocryphal books. And we then did a radio program a few days later on WEZE in Boston. During that radio interview, I asked Jerry Matitix a question. It eventually became known as the white question. And I didn't name it that, the Roman Catholic apologists did. In 1990, I debated a wonderful man by the name of Mitchell Pacwa. Most of you know Father Mitch, the sole conservative Jesuit on the planet.
But then, if you point out to them a handful of other Jesuits to say, that's the exception. Okay, so Mitch Pacwa, Father Mitch Pacwa, he's the exception. He's on the EWTN. Father Joseph Fessio, who founded Ignatius Press, right? He must also be an exception. And you have Father Robert Spitzer, right? Also an EWTN, big, very, very intelligent man, you know. He's an exception too. But people presume that these guys somehow must all be the exception, and every other Jesuit out there is a crazy liberal. I'd go so far as to say some of the things I hear said are really, it's a sin to say the things that are being said. It's a sin. You should stop it.